Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Go Hunt podcast, the hunting podcast your hippie vegan sister binges in order of her favorite cast member. We have Dave Packard, who says hunting because no story ever started with a salad. Mike Gonzalez, ready for the weekend after next. Sam Alexander, who isn't here. And feeling a bit cooler tonight, I'm Vince H. Tonight, various plans have been stolen from a secret base for your hunting camp. We are going to drop a torpedo on them eventually.
Rude. Also, torpedo in the dryness where we are going to be camping is going to be a terrible idea because the torpedo will just go. Poof.
If we drop it from high enough, it'll still blow up.
Stay away from my ventilation shaft. Leave my ventilation shaft alone. No, we are not torpedoing my ventilation shaft.
Use the force, Dave.
He has a very, very bespoke bucket for his ventilation shaft. You just got to aim for the bucket and you'll get him.
I mean, we're not 10 seconds in and we have show titles.
I think Dave broke his neck trying to write them all down like Whiplash.
That should be our show title, is show titles.
Whoa, it's meta.
Hey guys, these show titles taste like show titles.
Heard you like a show title with a little show title, so we put a show title on the show titles. What the hell?
What was the name of that episode? Show title.
Bespoke bucket. There we go.
Yeah,
Bespoke
that's a good one.
Does it have a seat yet, or is it still just the raw bucket edge?
Or did you install a pool noodle?
Ooh, See, that's a step up from a seat. Like pool noodle is luxury.
No, the step up is when you take the you get the gravity water feed and the hose and you put it through. You drill a hole inside of the bucket and you point it up, so you have a redneck bidet.
You have to blow in it yourself.
No, he's got the water tank in the Prado. He can pressurize it. He just needs to hook up a little pipe pump next to it that leads to the water tank, and as he goes.
No, I prefer.
I actually do have a little 3 gallon per minute Amazon pump in my Amazon cart right now. It's like $30.
I much prefer the image of Mike like sitting there with a hose in his mouth and just red face, just blowing as hard as he can. What do you do? What are you doing? He's like, I'm wiping.
Blowing my booty.
Oh my God.
He's going to do one of those camp shower builds people do out of ABS. But when people say your camp shower, no, that's my bidet. I like the water warm. First of all, don't use ABS because it's not UV resistant. Use PVC, Schedule 40.
This is why you
Then
don't go.
paint it black.
You don't go camping with overlanders.
That's what most overlanding rigs are. Next time we talk to the off-road podcast guys, I'm going to be even more of a bone about that, just because I swear all overlanders are is just the 2020s version of the old pickup camper. But instead of backing in and dropping the camper, now you got your overlanding rig.
You know,
Javelin
I can't really disagree.
It's not an eye wash station.
I mean,
it could be. As long as the water's clean, right?
pink eye wash station.
Show title.
That's what we have antibiotics for.
Pink eye wash station.
I know, all the overlanding rigs, man, they're just little campers now. I swear, 90% of them, 99% of them. That and the driving to Home Depot in. You drive to Home Depot, you get out, you go back in, you drive to the campground, spend overnight, go home and park it, and then do it all again next year.
I'm not opposed to it. If I didn't have to drag trailers and shit so much all the fucking time and haul like a bunch of tools around and big things, I would absolutely take everything I could ever need to survive for a week with me every day.
Oh, I'm not opposed to it as like no, that's fine. It's just
So a 72 can cooler.
Yes.
That's a good start.
The basket on top is for 30 racks.
Dave's little camp shower build is not full of water for your bidet. It's
It's just the Buick LeSabre loaded down with with Keystone and Dave blaring "Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy."
Okay, actually.
Oh no, it's Creed all the way, man. It's Creed coming
He's
out
just
my
like,
windows.
Can you take me high? And
Have you ever played the Creed drinking game?
Does when he enunciates a consonant, you take a shot?
No, it's whenever you got to watch music videos, and every time he does this, you take a drink.
Oh,
the little double
that's
fist pulling thing.
Yep.
You get like 47 seconds in, and you're toast.
Fucked up. It's good.
That
I'm
sounds like fun.
I'm actually okay with the idea of having a pressurized tap full of Keystone on Dave's cracker.
Pony keg. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's an overlanding shower. But instead,
Actually,
like, is that
Pressurize
propane?
that
Like,
thing,
no,
put
that's
tap on it.
Keystone.
there's a guy that used to live down here, and he had a rat rod pickup, and he had rigged up the washer fluid pump to a reservoir that was like under the hood, but it was full of bourbon. So every time you hit the washer fluid, you'd open the ashtray and a little hose came out, and you just stick a glass under there, and it would fill your glass with the bourbon that came out. His center console was a cooler with ice. Just
That's awesome. Well done.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah, back to overlanding. I find it very interesting how many people with overlanding rigs don't actually use them. Like,
Because it's a looks thing. It looks
it's a
good.
fashion statement for most people.
It says, "Look how outdoorsy I am."
it says look how much money I spent. A lot of them are look how much money I spent.
I mean,
it's
sure.
basically an RV with more steps. Like, you have to actually set all the stuff up everywhere you go, but
Yeah.
you'd still just like an RV, and you spent way more money on it. And
It's not like the. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say it's easier for thieves to pick one part to run off with, not the whole thing.
Right.
Overlanding nowadays is not the same as it was when you passed a 65-year-old man in a Ram Charger that you wouldn't see till spring. Just like, oh yeah, he's gone. He'll be back.
It's still all just pretending to be homeless.
Spending a lot of money to be homeless in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Glamorous, transient.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind pretending to be homeless in the woods. I actually find that quite entertaining.
Speaking of homeless,
Look at
in the woods,
RVs. The difference between homeless and rich is a matter of how much.
Oh, look, RVs. Before we segue, because we got set up for that one until you just never listen to RVs. RVs are multi-utility vehicles, man. You can not only live in one, you can also operate an entire cooking business out of one. Just gotta have.
There was one for sale. There was one for sale down here for a long time. Big old fifth wheel camper that got converted into half of it being a barbecue restaurant, and they just drove around all year long.
Oh, that kind. Got it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That actually sounds fantastic.
Yeah, not gonna lie, that sounds cool.
Except for you
was
eat all your own
bomb.
barbecue.
Dude,
But the
imagine
guy
having
ended up-
that kind of cookout place everywhere you camp.
The guy ended up passing away while he was down here in Springfield, actually. And so his wife was like, I don't know. So she had to sell the whole rig and everything. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Well, speaking of camping, what we want to go over tonight is we're coming up on all the fun hunting season stuff. Specifically on my end, it's going to be archery, elk hunting time, and then Mike, you're going to be out there. Well, I guess you have more than a bolt-action shotgun, so you might actually be successful in killing doves this year.
Yeah, the old Rite that the storied Rite is coming out dove hunting with me, and
You better take 2 shotguns
I will. I'm going to bring the 1187 just in case.
because you're going to pump that thing, and for some reason, it's just going to go. The linkage just going to go funk.
Don't curse me. Like,
I'm
why
not.
curse me?
You are already cursed. I'm just pointing it out.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Damn it, Ricky Bobby.
does anybody else feel like Rite is like a super fancy version of what it should actually be called? Like
Yes.
the Retta. Like Retta Lynn. Retta Lynn.
Retire.
Someone somewhere in Turkey is like, no, it's retire. What?
Oh boy.
That was aggressive.
Anyway.
So let's roll off a little bit here. What's all right? So, what does your average little camp look like? Put it that way. Because speaking, or hell, I can jump off first. Going into like archery last year, camp consisted of a tent, a place to sit, and that's all. We didn't bother with like campfire in the middle, none of that stuff. It was just get back after dark, eat, go to sleep, wake up in the morning before sun up, leave. So as far as camping went for hunt camp, it was pretty bare bones. Just
I think they called it
took a lot
minimalist.
You took a lot of dry food with you. Took your water with you. You said it was 100 yards out from the truck.
We were
right?
100 yards from the truck, but we were packed and ready because originally the plan was we were going to be, half a mile in or so.
Right.
Until we discovered that if we go half a mile in, we're just going to be busting out elk anyway, so we might as well just stay here. But no, that was all supposed to be very minimal. It was just lightweight tent, lightweight sleeping bag, lightweight pad, and hauling water in, although we had water all the way up. All the food was all freeze dried. I mean, again, I followed to the point where I got made fun of. I very strictly followed 100 calories per ounce when it came to food, just to maximize calories to weight ratio. And then they called me a nerd.
You are a nerd.
And then they called me a nerd.
Yeah, it was not cool.
How dare they say those mean, accurate, hurtful things?
Hey, I had plenty of food. Okay, I'm never going to complain.
Like, did you have a perfect amount of food for the trip you went on, or did you have too much, too little?
Too much.
That's good.
What
Too
would
much
you
food.
scale
That's
back if doing it again?
I would scale back on things that I didn't necessarily eat, which was hard salami. I brought hard salami along because I like hard salami sometimes.
I bet you do.
I was not in the mood to eat freaking salami and cheese out there. It was just too damn hot. Now, the cheese I had... Well, the cheese I had was a hard cheddar, so it wasn't going bad by any means. Like, hard cheddar cheese you can haul out there with you. It'll be fine. I mean, we won't be fine for like 2 weeks, but for a few days, it'll be good. Same with the salami. And, normally I like to eat that type of stuff, but I will say when I was out there, it's like, I don't feel like eating this. I feel like eating Pop-Tarts, Cheez-Its, and other crap.
I want to point something out about cheese. Unless it's got little friends growing on it, as we say in our house, apparently.
Pick the friends off.
I mean, you can pick the friends off, but if the friends have taken over the entire block and you've got this, it's turned into blue cheese, then it's time to throw it out.
Cultured.
Then you have penicillin.
It listens to Bach.
Are you sure it doesn't
Sebastian
listen to
Bach?
mozzarella?
I don't.
God almighty.
Anyway,
like good one.
my point about cheese was that it's already spoiled milk, and it's already, quote unquote, bad. It's not going to go bad in a couple of days just because it's around hotness. It might dry out a little. Sorry,
cheese exists. Cheese came about because of you needed a way to store dairy.
Mm-hmm.
You can't drink all the milk. So anyway, that we're getting off track. But no, I had the hard cheese and then the salami. But it's just not in the mood to eat that when I was out there. I did eat all through. I had some healthy stuff too. I don't remember what my healthy stuff was though. I ate a lot of peanut butter.
Strawberry Pop-Tarts.
Blueberry.
It has strawberry in it. So
Blueberry.
Blueberry too.
Yeah. I did, the last time I was at the grocery store, I did buy 4 packages of Pop-Tarts, different flavors and whatnot, for the upcoming hunting season. They were an absolute staple as my breakfast for duck hunting. Like, just got here, grab a Pop-Tart, grab nutrient survival bar, grab something else, head out to the ducks, and that's what I'm eating for the day.
Javelin Fang says he went on a guy, and he went on a guy. Whoa.
Whoa!
He went hunting with a guy. He went hunting with a guy, and he pulled out a 5-course meal for lunch. Was the first course peanut butter, second course Pop-Tarts, third course Cheez-Its, fourth course dried apple slices, and the 5th course honey stingers, because that might have been me.
And the dessert was dusky.
He brought out one of them.
He says it was a whole selection of meat and cheeses. He had pate.
He brought out one of them charcuterie boards.
Oh, I don't. It's a shame. I don't think we can get Sharkakuchi past.
I don't think so.
past the censor.
What about what if you
If
wrote
you
it
spell it with a
shark
K.
as in like shark and then hoochie?
Oh wait, I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Someone else talk for a minute while I figure out how to spell this.
So anyway, back to the duff hunt. Heading out east to the eastern part of the state, basically same place I like to deer hunt, and I dove hunt every year out there. Usually only get a couple of birds, but I'm trying different techniques before I really try a different place. I can't just say, hey, this place sucks.
Bitch, I
and
got
move
like
on.
13 birds that one year. You can get.
I
more.
know you did, which is why I can...
Weren't we talking
ahead.
about camping? You just like
Yeah,
straight up.
Well, he's about to go back
Okay.
into I think his dove
Right.
camp stuff.
Right.
Just a long way around.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute.
So the what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the
Gaslight
Prado
us.
out, throw my. I'll show you gaslighting later. We're gonna take the Prado out, throw my tent out. That my basic camping when I go hunting is it's similar to overlanding, except I throw a tent onto the side. I don't have a tent on top of the Prado.
Gotta fix that, bro. You're not a real overlander.
I don't even call myself an overlander. I just like to go out and camp, and I like to camp next to my truck where the food and the water is.
Can you
Like,
imagine how slow
call it
that
what you
thing
will.
would be with a big sail on top catching the
Oh.
wind?
Good God, dude. I didn't even think of that. No, that'd be terrible. You're right. Absolutely not. Maybe one of those cool trailers, the, overlanding trailers, but not right now.
But it's motorized to help push you along.
Right. It's got a Tesla motor on each wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your trailer's got more power than you.
He puts
Police
it
get called to
reverse.
this jackknifed rig. It's a Japanese Land Cruiser and a trailer with electric. What happened here? Oh, trailer pushed me off the road.
Anyway,
So yeah, food and water actually go in the back. That's why I like to camp next to it. It's got food, water, power, everything I need to live, and then the tent is shelter. And then, if something severe happens and the tent isn't enough shelter, then there's, Prado ends up being hard shelter.
So that you get in the car and leave.
Yeah. Oh, this weather sucks. Bye.
Yeah.
So
Vince, you are the one that I wanted to hear about, kind of, because you are more Midwestern type, like deer camp hunting, right?
Yeah, you gotta. So, as far as hiking in somewhere with all your stuff in your pack, that's actually, I don't know of any place in Oklahoma specifically where that is legal, because you're supposed to only camp within 50 yards of a maintained road.
really?
That may vary from WMA to WMA, but most of them are camping allowed in designated areas or within 50 yards of a maintained road. And so you can't really hike in with all your stuff, even if you want to. And even if you wanted to, there's usually not a whole lot of reasons. There's not vast stretches of wilderness, like 10 miles that way. And, you won't come across a tire track if you head off road. Like, no, you'll cross a bunch of ridges, and every ridge is going to have a road on top of it that was used at one point at least, and may still be used by the logging company. But so I'm usually setting up a pretty I wouldn't say extensive. I'm kind of minimalist, but I still want enough shelter. I put up a tarp. I think I've actually posted pictures on Instagram of my setup.
Yeah.
I usually put up a tarp over my tent as kind of double protection from the elements, but it also gives me a place to shelter from the sun, because even in Oklahoma, even during the fall months, the sun can kind of be a pain in the butt during the middle of the day. Like, you don't just want to sit there in full sun outside your tent, because it's not going to be fun. So I'll set up a tent. I'll put up I'll build a fire pit. I usually bring firewood with me. And then, if I bring anything back, I can use that extra space from the wood that I burned up to fit other stuff. But also, I've been taking my son the last couple of years, and in the future, I hope to take others and more of the kids with me. And so you got to kind of have a base camp that's entertaining for them.
Yeah, not
Right.
just like here's a tent, throw them in there, go to sleep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also with deer hunting, you can hunt the middle of the day, and people do have good success hunting the middle of the day, especially during the rut. But you really are focusing on the morning and the evening, so you got to have stuff to do in the middle of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an issue we ran into last year because we were hunting morning and evening, and so come back in the middle of the day, and it's just like, all right, we'll do some serious sitting here and talking, which is
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, it was middle of the day, and I really wished I had brought a chair.
Well, it turns out you should have been pursuing those elk in the bedroom in the
I mean,
middle of the day.
Mhm.
It turns out I shouldn't have been, considering my revealed bow issues later. But
Just carry an
Oh.
arrow with you.
it's a 20-yard shot on that bull. Perfect. Zing! Where'd the arrow go? I have no idea.
Why is that cow stumbling?
That's my free cow.
The free cow you get with every tag.
Free cow.
Oh, don't worry, I brought a cow tag too.
It's either sex.
That's
It's
funny.
been fine. Were you aiming for that cow back there? Yeah, I only hunt for the meat, man. I don't care about antlers.
He says through choked tears.
Anyway. No, yeah, that sounds more like traditional, like deer camp.
Yeah, like
Which-
deer. Like if I could put a cabin out there and just sleep in the cabin, I probably would.
That's nice.
Yeah, public land. You don't want to put a cabin out there; it'll disappear. Honestly, I'm kind of worried about the tarp disappearing while I'm hunting. But you gotta
Fair. I
take
was a
what
little
chance.
like, ew, our tent's gonna still be here when we get back, but they always were.
And when we go out to Burlington and I'm camping, I try to camp in some place where my campsite can't be seen unless you like stumble upon it. I really
Weren't
do
you
like that
camped-
one spot, Sam, but I might try a different spot this time. Just because it
Weren't
was a
you
little
camped-
intriguing.
Under the awning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's camped under a giant like carport awning. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, maybe an old snack bar or something from like
Picnic.
long ago, but
Area.
Wasn't it-
possibly.
I think it was an old
Was it a
concessions-
Hawaiian snack bar, like an Aloha snack bar?
It's not Aloha
Wasn't
treadmill.
No, I think it was concessions, and then like a little picnic table awning thing. Like actually not little, kind of tall. If I remember what the map said, anyway.
The where I found the other place I found, it's got really tall trees and some paved spots, and it kind of looks like an altar.
Any
Like,
widow makers in there? Make sure you don't know things will fall on you. Some of those oaks look deader than shit.
Oh yeah. I'll keep an eye on the trees, but they're not oaks. They're those thin pines that the entire campground is
Oh.
like littered with.
Well, there are a bunch of oaks ringing around where the reservoir was too.
Yeah.
And some of them were just like, "Oh, that one's dead. Oh, that one's dead."
Yeah, they're
Anyway,
that's the best place to find those doves though, up in the dead trees.
the best place to find them was camping out at that watering hole.
That's true. And I actually have decoys. I used decoys last year, but I'll have 2 days this year, and I think the decoys are gonna really help.
Oh, hang on, we'll get to that.
Oh, the other thing was
Oh, go Vince.
you got to have a campfire because you got to have like
Oh yeah,
after dark activities like roasting
S'mores.
the
I mean,
marshmallows and the pop tarts.
Some s'mores.
And
Some s'mores.
and like
I
cooking
actually don't
steak
like
over that
s'mores.
fire on a grill over that fire.
S'mores
Yeah.
take so much effort, and the reward is so minimal.
No.
They're
They're
so
not
no.
great.
sticky though.
Here's what you do. So perfect s'more for kids is you get those little fudge wafer cookie things that have like the little chocolate stripes on them,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and you use 2 of those cookies, and then there's your fucking s'more. Not the graham,
What
And
you do is you get
if you want to go fancy, instead of the Hershey's bar, you can use like a Reese's peanut butter cup. I'm a professional fat guy, so
I'm taking the child hunting
get
with
two
me.
of the s'mores
We might try
Pop-Tarts.
that.
yeah,
And
the
you
s'mores Pop
smash-
Tarts.
and you smash marshmallows in between them.
We might
Little
also
pudgy
try
pie.
that.
A s'mores pudgy pie.
Pudgy pie sounds good.
And you roast that over the fire.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
It's
the
like
whole thing.
s'moreception. So
Dude.
because you got to roast the Pop Tarts too. I've told y'all about the roasted Pop Tarts. Do it. It'll
Oh, yeah.
change your life.
Dude,
Has
what if
to.
you have Pop Tart, marshmallow, graham cracker, marshmallow,
too many
chocolate?
steps.
We were
now.
trying to simplify
Graham
shit,
cracker.
Mike.
We're way
Marshmallow.
back. We're way back in too many steps here. You're
You just
being
need
ridiculous.
extra marshmallow. That's all we're
Yeah.
looking for is extra marshmallow.
Yeah, and just like one
Because
chocolate
that's the fun
and
part. Like the whole attempting to not light the marshmallow on fire while also trying to cook the marshmallow when you're 8 years old. That's like the
It's the
pinnacle
most
of entertainment.
and then eating the
satisfying,
carbonized
frustrating
gooey
thing.
thing anyway. Charred marshmallow.
Gross.
Anyway, Dave,
Mhm.
tell me something.
So, whenever we would go elk hunting when we had to camp, we would be like our base camp would be at a vehicle like Vince, and we'd have a tent, we'd have a gazebo, which is like a 10 by 10 fucking tall tent type thing, no floor, but
Yeah,
we had
shade guy.
yeah, had a net around it, and then there was a tarp that went around that, so if it started raining, you could fucking open or you could shut that or open it back up and have the net and then no flies get in there. Well, that's where we usually had our grill or like our little Camp Chef griddle deal and our coolers and tables and shit. So we had that there. Unless we brought the camper camping, which was fantastic because then you had a shower and an actual shitter. And I think my goal for like hunt base camp is going to be like a living quarters horse trailer because I'm about using horses and llamas and shit to pack shit in and out, and I'm thinking, you know, living quarters horse trailer. I have my horse trailer and then I got this little camper up in front. Fucking best of both worlds. I mean, I can still pack shit in and camp if I need to, but we've never had to do that.
Yeah, because you weren't ever really going in that deep.
Exactly. I mean, there's times like when next year when I draw my elk tag, I fucking hope I draw my elk tag. I drew it, but
You
I
will,
couldn't.
Dave.
Yeah, but next year it'll be camp or it'll be pack in on horseback, and it'll be a big old canvas wall tent with a stove and all that happy shit. Yeah.
If
No,
you
it'll
have
be.
if you have a spare horse, I want to come along.
Oh, I'm sure we could.
Oh, fuck it. I'll walk. I don't need a horse. I'll walk. That's fine.
Yeah, no, we'll be back in there a ways. So
Actually, that sounds like a lot of fun.
yeah, and it's pretty light on beer when you're packing in that far. It's more bourbon.
Well,
Or
you gotta
liquor.
get your mileage working.
Yeah, you got to get percentage per ounce over here, like Sam.
Exactly that, and you can't pack in coolers of ice that far. So, I mean, when you're camping out of a pickup, oh yeah, a fucking cooler of beer, but you also have a bottle on reserve.
So let's. I punched in a bunch of show notes, but we don't need to go through all of them. But one thing I did want to touch on briefly is so. What kind of? I mean, this might not necessarily for. Let's approach this one a little bit more theoretically. What kind of terrain are you looking at when you want to camp somewhere? Because for
Can
me,
I go first?
Go, Dave.
Okay, numero uno in my fucking book, has to be level. Like, fucking has to be. I'm not sleeping at the end of one end of my tent because I'm rolling down the fucking hill, and I don't want to be sleeping like an inverted mummy. So, no.
How do you feel about like 1 or 2 degree incline? Like can you handle just a slight incline?
put your head up.
down.
Yeah, man,
right. Head
I'd
uphill,
probably
of course.
I'd probably have to do some dirt work, to be honest.
So on Dave's list of things he brings is an e-tool, a little shovel, so he can level himself out.
I have one of those thanks to listener Mike B. It's fantastic.
Sweet.
I'm actually considering going out to my campsite and trying to level some of it early
Mm-hmm.
because I deal with that, and usually it's with the kid ending up in the wrong place while I'm trying to sleep, like rolling downhill, like and somehow out because like I try to put our head uphill a little bit, but somehow he ends up like just out of the freaking sleeping bag and
That's because they're
slowly
kids.
freezing to death. And like, no, stop that.
Yeah.
Or like my daughter was freezing to death one of those last times I took her camping, and she wasn't in the sleeping bag at all. She was under it, and I was like, no wonder you're freezing to death. Got her in there, and she's out like a light because she's finally warm.
So level, that's a good one. Other thing for me, access to water.
Yeah. Oh,
I would avoid being right next to the water if you can help it, because that's where animals and predators like to be, especially if
And
you're somewhere with grizzlies. But
other people.
close and other people, but close enough to get there to where it's like, where's the water? Oh, it's half a mile that direction. Ugh.
that was one of
Get
my criteria for searching for a campsite was finding a level spot within 50 meters of the road, close to a stream of some kind that we could it's not even like I really need the water. It's not like I'm not drinking that water or anything, but I do go down there to wash hands and knives and stuff after processing game and things like that. And we don't have grizzlies, so I don't have to worry about that. And usually when I've been down there, the black bears should be in hibernation by that point. So I haven't even had to be concerned about that, and everything else, I could kill with a stick if I had to. So I'm not super concerned.
Yeah, well, that actually rolls into something else too. Was like this technically, Colorado bear. We do have bears, so you should always have a bear aware camp. Cooking necessarily. I would say if you're going out of a jet boil, you have a little less to worry about because everything's contained inside the bag. But especially in grizzly country, like you want to do all that crap 100 meters from where you're sleeping at least. And then with brown or black bears, they will ransack your stuff if you got food sense and you leave something behind.
Well, and if
when
I
I
decide to
was-
go early this year and I'm trying to find a black bear, I might just camp really badly and hope it wanders up.
Hey,
When
Sam,
did you
I
shoot
got a
this?
new
The
idea.
first thing this morning, I swear.
Look, if I tried to do something like that, CPW would be all over me going like, yo, dude, baiting's illegal. You know that, right? Like, no, I'm not baiting. I'm just sloppy, and they'd ticket me anyway.
Sloppy
but,
people should be ticketed more.
Yeah, I mean, screw you. No, when I was like 15 or 14, no, I was probably 15, working with my dad in the neighborhood, and he goes out to the van to go throw some tear out in the back of it and sees this big hairy back up in the front. He thought it was a dog, so he yells at it, and this black bear turns around, looks at him, and goes, "Ugh!" and hops out the driver's window and scampers off.
Oh,
He was trying to raid my lunchbox. Like, hey, it's my lunchbox. But so now
Gigantic
bears,
raccoons.
basically. So bears, something always to be careful of. I mean, hell, I've got a bunch of other crap in here too. We don't need to touch
Ants.
on, but ants. No, that's a good
Ants,
one. Too.
yeah, don't
Yeah,
camp
don't-
on an anthill.
Yeah, check to make sure there's no red ants down there and big rocks.
Yeah, I
Rocks,
found a
yeah.
big rock the last time we were camping. I don't know how I laid the mattress pad down, but I laid down and somehow in the middle of the night, whoop, there's that rock. So I just rolled over. In the middle of the night again, whoop, there's the rock again. It was pretty awful.
To be fair, you have a rock in your back while you're walking.
True. I am always rocking and rolling.
Sometimes.
Oh yeah,
unwillingly.
that was another thing. No one guessed why we couldn't record last night.
I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
if anybody cared.
Yeah, a couple of people
We got a
tried to
couple
guess,
guesses.
and they're
Oh.
probably listening. And we
Oh.
weren't trying to trick you. It wasn't anything crazy. Mike threw out his back, and Dave had bad internet.
Yeah,
Like
Dave threw out his
fucking
internet.
bad internet.
It was terrible. I got sent home. I'm one of those. It's like I won't leave work. I got sent home, and it was that bad. So I was like, nope, can't do show tonight because I can barely talk. So yeah,
Fun
it was
time.
lovely.
The last thing I wanted to ask if any of you guys, well, have ever took this consideration when camping, is that wind direction with where you set up your camp versus where you plan on hunting.
Like not having your wind, the
Yeah, well,
smell of your camp blow into your praise area.
I mean, thinking of the way I thought about it is where we were last year, we were camped at the bottom of the drainage. So when the air cools off in the evening, it's blowing, all the elk hopefully are upwind of us. But if you were to camp at the top of that thing, or up on the mountain, air cools down in the evening, might sweep your scent on down into the drainage where the elk are hanging out.
Nope.
I actually, I was thinking about this kind of camping for this, if I can make this elk trip in September, which I'd really like to. Dave, I've found some spots on Onyx I want to talk to you about offline for camping there. And
Javelin Fang says, upwind, the porta johns and gut piles.
the gut piles smell better. Trust me.
I was about to say, yeah, it depends on the ambient temperature. And who's been using it.
When
Did
I was
you know
deployed
that
to Korea, we had these porta johns outside. They're Korean porta johns. Oh, good God, they were awful. Anyway,
I mean, I've worked on a job site where I was the only person using it, and so it stayed nice and tidy clean for a week.
it wasn't because.
And then everyone else showed up and it went to shit.
Let's be clear. It had nothing to do with them being Korean. It had to do with the 300 American dudes using them every day.
Yeah, well, your diet's terrible. Anyway.
Yeah,
wind direction.
300 American dudes. Yeah, wind direction.
Anyone else think about that, or just me being paranoid?
I actually hadn't thought of that bore, so that's a solid.
Not really, but go ahead, Vince.
No, you finish. I'll
Wind direction hasn't really affected where I camp. I'm usually always at the bottom because that's where the flat spots are and water. So I mean, I've thought about it, but it's never really affected where I camp. I'm not gonna camp like where I'm hunting, like in my zone.
Yeah,
it would be nice if I could just open my tent and crack one off, but that's not gonna happen. So
that's kind of where I was going with it, because if you're backpacking in to hunt and camping, that is probably a much bigger consideration because you're basically hunting the second you leave your camp. But doing what I do, like I get in the truck and drive 4 miles to where I'm hunting, and it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, this floated across my brain because I remember I was talking about, prior to talking to Kyle here this last time, I was talking about, my plan is to hike to the top of the mountain and then I'll camp up there overnight and listen for elk. And then I realized, wait a minute, if I'm up on top and it carries my scent down the mountain, down to the drainage, well, that might be a bad idea. But
I could see camping on top if it is like your halfway point to where you're going to go hunt. Like if you're going to hunt above tree line, you want to camp in tree line or below tree line.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, that's where I could see camping up top would be fine. But then you're not really worried about wind direction because you're not worried about shit below you. You're going up. So,
anyway.
No, that's fine.
Cool. Well, I think that kind of covers that a little bit. A little bit of info there. That is the first of what I think we're going to try and do a little bit more in the future here, which is having some. I mean, that one actually ended up dragging on for a good little chunk of time, but a couple little topic focus driven segments to begin before we spill into the total chaos of. So, what'd you do this week? So, sweet. This is the part where if we have an ad, we would say this episode of Let's Go Hunt is brought to you by
us.
Costco.
Sam's inflated ego.
Sam's inflated ego. Come here and buy a cup of ego. I have lots.
Sam's
That is
tile.
mostly brought to you by Sam's inflated ego, honestly.
He's tiled of your business.
Moving on. Away from the puns. You're not very
Whatever.
punny.
We we will never get away from the puns, but
So Vince, you had like 40 things here.
Of varying ages
Touch on
as well.
like a few of them. Since I think last week you didn't get to hit on any of them.
No, what did we even talk about last week? Oh, I talked about something. Yeah, fishing. I talked about fishing last week.
Oh yeah.
That was
Real
most
quick,
fun.
Vince.
Mhm.
While looking at your show notes, what is this VDSM? Because it's been in there for like months.
Someone finally asked. VDSM just happens to be an acronym of our names.
Excellent.
But rather
Now
than
that I know.
BDSM, it's VDSM.
I do not like.
I'm into
do not appreciate-
VDSM.
I do not appreciate being sandwiched in between Dave and Mike. Please put me somewhere else.
No
You
can
do VDSM.
Mike's at the back at least.
I don't mind being last. Like, you guys go do what you do. Whatever. I'll stay here.
Sloppy
fine.
fourths.
Maybe I just won't go. I'll just go home. It's fine.
You can't. You're there. You're our caboose, sir.
No. I just detached myself. Like, I'm done. I'm off this train.
Can't.
All right.
We're an acronym now.
Shit.
It's like a celebrity couple name, but now we're an acronym.
Dude, what if we got T-shirts that said VDSM and then just didn't explain it to anybody?
I mean,
you
it
could
works
go-
if you say it like in Spanish because it's still BDSM.
Oh,
I'm into BDSM.
someone say this from this.
I wrote my essay.
The hunting centipede, says Javelin.
Oh,
Okay.
no, thank you. No.
So Mike's gonna go dove hunting in eastern Colorado the weekend after next,
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun because we're definitely moving on.
and I'm not going with you, so there's no centipede stuff.
No, there's no centipedes. But yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to... So this actually led me... I was thinking about this today. So we started this whole nonsense to help educate people on hunting. So I started thinking, hey, if I'm new to dove hunting, or if
Well,
I
I thought
want
we started
to...
this for free shit, and it's just not panning out.
I mean, it's starting to.
Sorry, I had to
I'm
throw that
kidding.
in there.
I joke, I kid, I tease.
I had to throw that in there.
I've got nothing witty to say back to that.
Good.
There's
finally.
no puns. Oh, shut up. At least you admit I. Moving on. So I started thinking, hey, if I was new, if I had a 12 gauge, and I'm like, I want to go dove hunting, how do I do that? So I wrote down just a brief little intro of here's how you need to go dove hunting. I'm assuming you already have a shotgun and you more or less know how to use it. I'm not gonna harp random listeners for gun safety. Just be responsible.
If
do
you
your
need
thing.
if you need some pointers, there's these YouTube videos by a guy named I just ruined my own joke because I can't think of the frontman name for Nirvana.
Kurt Cobain.
There you
Kurt
go.
Cobain.
That was gonna be great, except for I spaced it right at the last moment.
Do you know why you can't ride in the car with Kurt Cobain?
He always calls shotgun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
Javelin
So-
Bangs wants to know if it's Colorado specific.
This is.
I will have
I-
a large caveat at the end of this.
I'm about to list off some stuff. It's gonna be general state specific. I can't do every single state, and I think I've already done Colorado in an episode like 2 years ago. So this is just a general. Here's what you need to do to get started. Again, assuming you have a shotgun, more or less know how to use it. Sam did bring up a good point. If you need pointers on how to shoot at birds, there's plenty of videos on YouTube for now. Maybe go watch them while you still can.
Cliff notes for that:
Um,
swing through the target in the direction it's moving.
Solid advice.
TLDR.
Too long, didn't read. So start off. Every state's going to have a wildlife website, a Department of Wildlife website. Colorado's is cpw.org or I think it's .org. Regardless, every state has one. Go on there, search for the big tab that says hunting. It'll find your small game hunting, and it should bring up your small game brochure, unless your state sucks and has a ridiculous website. But your small game brochure, spend some time reading that, find out what's legal, what's not. You get all your information on calibers, identification of birds, what not to shoot, etc., etc. Like, there's just
It'll have all your regs in it that you need to know.
Regs are huge. Thanks, Sam. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like, look up the information first to make sure.
Right.
What's your bag limit? What's your daily limit?
Right.
What are you allowed to shoot? What aren't you allowed to shoot? What are you allowed to shoot it with? What aren't you allowed to shoot it with? So on and so forth.
Definitely important information. You don't want to go out with like a 22, shoot some doves, and then the old warden shows up and is like, "Why? What you doing? Dove hunting? Why are you doing it with a 22? Why not?"
Rat shot.
That fair.
There was a guy my dad went to school with in high school who used to take a pump action Remington 22 and go shoot quail and pheasant with it.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Out of the air.
That's really cool.
Cooler.
Yeah.
Alternative for the websites, you can go to your big box stores, literally any of them, Sportsman's, Cabela's, Bass Pro, what the hell ever. If they sell a fishing license, they will probably have your small game brochure and your fishing brochure just sitting on a rack there for you to grab. I like having a paper copy at home because I'm a FUD, but it's a lot of. I also have it on my phone, so get familiar with regulations. Make sure all your equipment falls within your regulations. And then once you are familiar with that stuff, it's time to get your small game license, which you can also, if you want to go to the big box store, get the brochure, get your small game license, and then become familiar, do so. Just be familiar before you go. There's no reason to go twice. Every state has various associated fees and stamps that it's going to require along with your small game license. Colorado has a habitat stamp that's $10 that once you buy they recently updated it. You had to buy it separate, and if you didn't buy it separate, you could get a ticket. They've recently changed it to where they just add it on automatically, and you can't buy licenses without buying it. So, they stopped setting people up for failure, which was pretty cool. But not every state does that. So, again, your brochure should tell you what stamps and whatnot you'll need. As well, your state website as well will tell you that when you're trying, if you want to buy your small game license online a couple weeks out, or a couple months out, then you can try that.
Oh yeah, this is all the stuff that's in the brochure on the regs. Then that's all going to be so state specific. Do your research, find out what you need to do. Next thing.
A couple of months before you go out, use that brochure, start trying to ID doves flying around your area, as long as you live in an area where they fly. They migrate most of the western U.S., possibly I don't know for sure their entire habitat. I know where they live here. They're huge in Texas. They're huge in Kansas. They're huge here. They migrate basically.
They're found throughout the entire.
Yeah.
As a resident species, they are found pretty much throughout the entire country.
Right. So.
And they all fly south to go winter down in the Yucatan Peninsula type area. So.
And they move on when it hits around 50, 45 degrees, something like that. They really don't like when it gets too cold. As soon as it gets cold, they're like, I'm out. Let's go somewhere warmer.
Forget identification. Shoot at noises.
I like this.
The bigger the bird, the bigger the dove. If it's a really big brown dove with a white head, shoot it twice.
Yep. Eurasians.
It goes.
They're rats. Bird
when it
rats.
flies by.
I think you missed his spiel there, Mike.
Maybe I did.
Yeah, definitely don't follow my advice. Anyway,
Wait,
This
are
stuff
you
goes-
talking about? Moving on.
Never mind.
Okay, somebody else talk while this stupid 757 stops.
basically, if you have doves in your area, find out what an actual dove looks like. A mourning dove, preferably, because that's the one you're probably going to end up shooting. Look at it. Be able to identify it by how it flops its wings, and/or doesn't actually flop its wings, but sits here and flings them around in such a way that you're pretty sure it's going to fall out of the sky, but somehow it doesn't.
Yeah,
So
doves
once
have
you
this.
identify that, now you know that's a dove, and that over there is a peregrine falcon.
Yep.
Make sure you know the difference between each, and don't just shoot at something flying through the sky because you have the old FUD adage of, oh, if it flies, man, it dies, which leads to a lot of like, oh, I shot that and walked up on it. It's not a dove, and now it's hissing at me. I should probably shoot it again and kick some dirt over it. Keep on walking. Nobody saw that, right? Nope. Okay, good.
Why is it hissing at you? What bird snake monstrosity did you shoot out of the sky?
A pterodactyl.
Okay, shoot it again.
I didn't have a
Bury it
license
until
to
it
it.
never
It was
gets
a shot at.
known.
Rain.
Doves have
I would
this
fancy to
really,
say
really.
that
Hang on. Go, Dave. Vince, stop singing.
like this.
I would go out on a limb and say that Eurasian collared doves are invasive everywhere in the U.S. So usually your bag limits only go towards mourning and white-winged doves. So Eurasians are pretty easy to identify. The ones down here are slightly lighter colored and they're larger birds, but they also have the collar, Eurasian collared doves. So
I've noticed
if
they
it doesn't
tend
look
to-
like that, and if they're really fucking fast, it's probably a mourning dove or a white-winged dove.
I've noticed the Eurasians are. They also like to they hang around cities, and not cities, but people. where
They're
there's
like
food, easy
countrified.
food.
They're countrified pigeons.
Yeah,
Yep, that's where I was going with it.
Yeah.
Intermediate
Um,
pigeons is what I was going to go with.
So if you live in one of those areas where you have Eurasian collards, you can use that to identify doves because they fly the same. They have the same profile, but mourning doves and white wings, they're just smaller.
It sounds like you're saying a slur, like Eurasian collards.
Collars. I don't know how to words. Leave me alone.
All right.
So the
So,
thing about sorry, let me get the one thing I wanted to say
Go.
out. The look up online if you're looking for the dove's wing flit. They have a very identifiable wing flit that Sam was talking about. It's like they're throwing their wings down as hard as they can to propel themselves forward as fast as they can before they have to repeat the whole process, because if they stop once, they just fall like a rock. They don't fly gracefully like other birds. Bye, Dave. So
They do not soar through the air.
no, they do not.
They pretty much throw themselves to the sky, is what I
They
saw.
kind of beat at the air with their wings, and
Mm-hmm. Like if you see something flying by, it's going flit, 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 flit. That's a dove.
well, that's why they make that noise, like that very distinct, like
Yep.
noise whenever they fly by.
Mhm.
I actually think that I might be taking my oldest out dove hunting this year.
Nice.
There's a few places that I can go somewhat locally, and so I told y'all a while back I got some shotguns to mess with for the kids, and two of them I cut down the stocks and put recoil pads on. One's a 410 and one is a 20 gauge. They're just little single shot break action New England Firearms H&R what have yous. This past, I think Sunday. It was Sunday. I finally got the recoil pad put on the 410, and I was like, you know what? I'll take the boy out there and have him shoot at some and see how that goes, because he's never actually shot at clay pigeons in the air. We had him shoot at some on the ground with a shotgun, but it didn't quite fit him right, so I didn't have him shooting anything out of the air. Back with Grandpa and stuff at their house. So I just went out in the front yard and was like, I'll see what he can do. And I went out there and I have the little handheld thrower, but I didn't want to use that at first. So I just took, clay pigeons and I chucked them up in the air. First one, he freaking nails it.
Nice.
Okay, that's cool. And then proceeded to nail the next 3.
He's a natural.
He finally missed number 5. And I'm like, okay, so I want to move over to the actual thrower and see if he can hit something that's moving a little faster. Mm-hmm. And then we started having a little bit of trouble. And then I remembered, like, okay, I'm standing a little too close to him, and clays moving almost directly away from you are really tricky. And he was having trouble getting on it before it started to drop, and then once it starts to fall, it's even trickier to actually hit them. You got to kind of the quicker you get on him, the better. But he was still he did really well. I mean, I was super impressed. He shot a whole box of 410. I mean, nice. I just let him shoot at him, and actually he hit a couple after I moved about another 20 feet away or so and started sending him more across his face. He was able to track with them better and swing through the target and actually clip a couple and send them down. And he had a really good time doing it. He was super excited about it. I was real excited when he just busted the first one. And I'm not just tossing them up right in front of him. I'm slinging them as hard as I can, which is about, a third of what the you can achieve with the hand thrower. But it's still pretty fast for someone who's never shot a moving target.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And then I went to, I was like, I'll shoot a couple. Here, let me grab the 20 gauge. And I went to shoot the 20 gauge, missed, because, I'm kind of I'm out of practice, and it's got a stock on it meant for a 9-year-old. And then it wouldn't eject. Oh. I'm like, you're kidding me. Okay. And I'm like, let me try again. So I think I took a loaded 410 shell and dropped it down the barrel to knock the spent casing out of there, and then did that 3 more times as it proceeded to stick every single time. And the ejector is plenty strong enough. I mean, it'll launch a loaded round about 8 feet through the air. So I kind of realized the high brass, cheap Federal shotgun shells I bought, that brass was expanding too much, because when I went to try and put the empty shell back in, it would not go back in. So like, okay, so I need to try different ammunition. I got home the other day and I polished up the chamber and made sure everything was smooth in there and that it wasn't getting caught on something, but everything in there seems to be doing pretty good. I cleaned everything up. I actually had to scrub some rust off of these, because that was the other thing. We only spent about 30 minutes out there, because even at 8:15 in the evening, it was 100 degrees. And I walked outside with those shotguns and they immediately started sweating.
They just rusted.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, look, rust. They just started condensation all over them. I'm like, this is gross and I feel gross, but we're doing this anyway. Where was it? Oh yeah. So I bought 3 different kinds of 20 gauge that are all low brass, and hopefully one or all of those will eject fine with those, which the cheap high brass is fine if you're using like a pump gun or a semi-auto that has really positive gas powered extraction or recoil extraction. But those ejectors, as fun as they are, for launching your empties through the air, that way you can load another one real fast, they don't have good positive extraction, which is why with the old H&R break action single shots in rifle calibers, I much prefer the ones that have the extractor. So it doesn't eject it, but whenever you break that sucker open, it pushes that
Pushes,
casing
yeah,
out of that
out.
chamber. Yeah, pushes, not trips a lever, and then the spring is supposed to go doink.
Yeah,
But-
and he goes funk.
Yeah, so I felt pretty
S-
good having him out there the first time, and I don't know. I want him to go shoot at a bird now.
So when you take him to go shoot at the birds, kind of segues right back into prepping to dove hunt if you're new. What are you gonna? What ammo are you gonna be putting in those shotguns?
If I can, I'd like him to use the 20 gauge because the 410 is fun for shooting at targets with kids because of how little recoil it has. I mean, and he felt nothing. He's like, I don't feel anything. I feel like it pushes on me because I put a really squishy pad on it and it's sized correctly for him. But the 410 is really and truly an expert's shotgun cartridge. Like
Mhm.
it's not a beginner's. That's a mistake a lot of people make when taking a kid out to actually shoot game with a shotgun. It's fine actually for squirrels and trees and stuff, like small game on the ground. Pursuing rabbits and squirrels with a young hunter with a 410 is perfectly
Snakes.
fine. Yeah. Oh, 410 may be the best snake medicine ever invented,
Yes.
just for utility and the shot size necessary. Like disintegrate a snake's head at 6 feet, kind of fun stuff. But I'd like him to use the 20 gauge. I just need to make sure it's working correctly. And then I have some 8-shot upland game loads here. Hope those work. And if so, I'd have him out there with those because you'll get a much better shot pattern and spread. And if you're not thinking about the recoil, it's not going to affect a small shooter as much as putting a 12 gauge on them or something like that.
Right. Yeah, the 8-shot was kind of what I was after, regardless of caliber. Like using 7.5 or 8-shot is what you. If you're sitting there at your box store looking at this, rack of shotgun shell after shotgun shell, and you're like, I have no idea what to buy for this. 7.5 to 8-shot.
Yeah,
Either one of
basically
those.
your target loads for dove, honestly,
Right.
are perfectly fine.
If your
Unfortunately,
Walmart still sells that 100-round value pack that used to be $23 and is probably now like $37,
It is
those will work
approximately
fine.
that, and it does not work in my 20 gauge, which is really unfortunate.
That is it is like Winchester white box of shotgun shells, though.
Yeah,
I would be cautious. I would definitely, again, check your regulations because there's a lot of states with game wildlife areas where you cannot use lead shot anything. Like even out of rifles, it's got to be copper or steel. So I would make sure that you're
Yeah.
legal on that.
That was
Most of
another
the time
thing I
you are,
wanted to-
but
I think
That's
here
solid.
we have some of those, but I think that's in directly relating to areas that are marshy, where you are actually
Okay.
pursuing waterfowl.
Yeah, anywhere there's waterfowl, they tend to ban lead shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because lead in dry ground is so very inert as to be not a problem. But the way that waterfowl feed, that's why you have to use steel shot, because lead leaches into water quite readily. So
Yeah.
if you have lead dropping into a marsh, then the waterfowl feed on plant material in that marsh, and they can get lead poisoning very easily.
Or they're eating stuff off the bottom and
Mhm.
they get a piece of shot in their belly and get lead poisoning that way too. But yeah, where I'm going, it used to be a lake. Lead shot's cool. If you can't use lead shot, use a slightly bigger steel shot, maybe 7 or 6 steel if you can find it. If you can't find it in stores, try Ammo Seek. That's
Slightly bigger?
Yeah, so you want slightly bigger steel because lead is denser than steel. In order to actually have the same effect as an 8-shot lead, you want a slightly bigger steel.
Okay, so you need the mass in the steel,
Right.
not the size of the shot. Okay.
Right.
Get you some bismuth, boy.
bismuth.
Oh
Ooh,
my
speaking
God.
of bismuth, that it starts with B, which was my next point.
Do you know how expensive that stuff is in 410?
It's an
It's
inside
ridiculous.
joke. I'll tell you about it later.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I actually have seen that at Shields. It's absolutely asinine. You
Like
wanna talk about it?
$37 for a box of
Yeah.
5.
That
Hard
bismuth
pass.
and that full choke, boys. Anyway,
I want to talk about those turkey loads that are $125 for 5.
Dave,
like-
what's up?
That
My
one
brother-in-law-
shot costs more than the license. No, thank you.
My
Your one shot
brother-in-law-
costs more than a butterball turkey.
My brother-in-law picked up some turkey loads for $3 and some change a box.
What?
Yeah, they
Where?
were discontinued, and nobody had marked the price down. So he price checked them one day, and he's like, "Y'all take all of them." So
Good call.
yeah,
Wow.
So, bismuth
him.
brought me to the 4Bs, butt, bird, beak, boom. When you're tracking on a dove, and I've later confirmed that, you know, for most birds that you're shooting at in North America, butt, bird, beak, boom works. Start at the butt. As the shotgun passes you'll start at the butt, you'll pass the bird. As soon as the shotgun passes the beak, that's when you boom. And you should improve your shooting with the birdies.
I just aim somewhere in the vague vicinity and fill the air with a steel shot. And
No,
eventually
you just
something falls.
point at it because it's a shotgun and you don't need to aim.
He's got that Sega 12.
I wish.
Dude, I would love to dove hunt.
The problem is,
bird
it's
hunt with
only
a Sega.
still 3-round magazine. Like, oh, give me 3 rounds.
But you could, yeah, and that would suck because you can't I have extra magazines. Well, you can only have 2 rounds in the magazine, so you can't have 3 because then you've got 4.
Oh yeah, check your regulations. You probably can only have 3 in the gun.
That's one of for waterfowl. That is a federal regulation. I do believe that for doves it's also a federal because it's a migratory bird. But
Yeah,
I could be
migratory
wrong
bird
on that.
federal, so it's gonna be 3.
It's part of the Federal Conservation Act or whatever nonsense that has been going on for 40 years that, you know, the feds have been wasting money.
So carry 2 guns.
Carry
I've got
3
3
guns.
in this gun and
bring
this
a
gun,
child
and 3
along
in
to
this
reload
gun.
them for you as you go.
I got me
Patriot style.
a double gun stamp this year for doves.
Remember, kids, volley fire is legal.
Why, yes, I did mean to shoot both barrels at the same time. Thank you for asking.
Did you
Were you
mean to
proud of me,
miss?
Mike?
No.
I didn't make one single antelope hunting joke when
I mean,
Vince said that.
I'm very proud of you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for refraining for one show. Just
All
one.
right. Well,
I already talked about dove camp, so
you
yeah,
get
I don't
that
really
card.
have. Yeah.
The doves will be fun. You're
The
going to be
doves will
out
be
there
fun.
sweating your nads off in Burlington, and I'm going to be at a high altitude going like,
That is, I'm starting to wonder if I can find a cooler location,
caveat.
but
It
I
was
think
90
doves
today.
it has to be hot. So
I forgot
It
my
was-
caveat. Go, Vince, and then I got to get my
It's
caveat.
90 degrees out today with like 60% humidity,
dude,
and it's downright pleasant.
This is why
fucking gross.
This is why I'm not going to Oklahoma.
Not right now. Don't do it.
it's
Yeah.
probably
Well,
about what it's going to
Last
be in
week.
Burlington.
Don't do it last week. It was
So-
90 Monday. It was 98, maybe 99, with a heat index of 108. I did a workout. I went for a run, and I sweated so much that my hands started pruning.
Oh.
Gross.
Don't you hate when you're working on your truck or something? You got rubber gloves on and it's hot and humid, and you pull those things off and your hands are pruny.
You mean bitch mittens?
Yeah.
VDSM style.
Eh,
Bitch
Uh,
mittens,
boy.
VDSM.
Your caveat.
my caveat is if you live somewhere like Texas, Or if you want to get the full, if you just want to have fun dove hunting and you're not doing this from the ground up, all of the above, except for find somewhere where you can go pay, like my brother down in Texas. I think he pays like $250 to go sit on the edge of some farmer's field, and he will get his daily limit by 11 o'clock in the morning and goes home and makes a giant pile of jalapeno poppers. Don't discount that if you just want to go out there and shoot something and have a good time.
You reminded me to bring jalapenos and cream cheese with me to cook them.
$250 doesn't sound
First
bad
night.
for that.
It's not bad. He tries to convince me to go with him. I'm like, I'm not driving all the way to Texas to do that.
You can do that
Sorry,
here for
but
not
Doves-
$250.
Doves do not have that big of a draw for me to be like, yes, let me drive to Texas for this.
Yeah,
I'll
it's,
send
Outside the
basically-
flying thing to
training.
shoot. That's all.
it's very small chicken is what it tastes like.
He's been with me. He's tasted it.
I mean,
He said it
don't
was
get me wrong.
metallic.
You
It's-
did. That was just
Uh,
the shotgun.
that's
You reminded me that I missed a point. If you're in Texas, where do I go dove hunting? Well, in Texas, that's likely your only option unless you own private land out
Yeah,
there.
that's a lot of states that
But-
aren't Western states. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of
So if you are like a lot of states have state wildlife areas, Texas I don't think does. They have almost no public land.
Texas
they
has
do, I don't know.
exceptionally little public land.
Yeah. So
I mean,
As Texans are fond of saying, the state is 92% privately owned.
So if you're not in Texas, where do you want to go dove hunting? You want to find a state wildlife area or state land or possibly federal BLM land. Like if you have Onyx, BLM is the yellow stuff. Anywhere that has like running water, a creek, one of those cow watering holes. What do you call those, Dave?
Tank?
All right,
Stock
a tank.
tank
pond.
Stock tank. Yes, thank you. Stock tank's what I was thinking
or
of.
a pond.
A pond, anywhere the birds can drink. They love to come in for a drink at sundown right before bed. So
They like Miller Lite.
They do. Like, who doesn't like a good drink right before bed, man? So you're going to want live and dead deciduous trees and running water. That's what you're looking for. So pick that state wildlife area, and you're just going to walk through the trees. You're going to look for the birds flapping through with those wing flits. Shoot them down. There's your dove. Yep. If you hear one like... That was a dove giving a warning as it flew away, warning other doves, hey, dickhead down there's with it. Got a shotgun.
Doves flying while they're like trying to escape something sound like they're squeaking their own squeaky toy.
Mm-hmm.
All this just reminds me of that time that Dick Cheney shot a guy while dove hunting in Texas.
And that is our final bit of advice. Don't go dove hunting with Dick Cheney.
Yep.
Cheney's got a gun.
That'd be a good show title. Dove hunting with Dick Cheney.
Didn't we? I think we did that like 2 years ago. We've probably
I
made
don't
this
remember.
joke before.
Oh, we've definitely made that joke before many times. I
Like
think
we
pretty
named a
much
show after it.
I think anytime we talk about hunting with a shotgun, he comes up.
Mm-hmm.
How could he not?
Hunting shotgun, Dick Cheney. It's like the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So, Dave, what's this about a small bolt build?
Oh yes, I want to know
Small
about
build.
this.
The small bolty boy.
Yes.
So I got those lowers in off the old PSA deal. Excuse me.
And then he
In my-
died.
Off the PSA deal, and so I've been. I know what I want to do with one of them, but the other one, I'm like, man, I don't know what I want to fucking do with this. So, this is what I'm thinking. I want to get a bolt action upper
Any
with
brand
like the only brand that I have found so far is Uinta. That's why I'm coming to you guys because a Uinta bolt action upper is $1,250. It's a complete upper with a barrel and everything, but the shortest they go is I think 16, and I'm looking for like a 10.5. And I don't want to take a saw to a $1,200 upper.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
this-
looks really hot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I brought a
But-
picture of it up on you went to Precision UP10.
Okay, so
But
I want short, and the wife and I have talked, and she said no, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm budgeting for a can next year, so I'm gonna throw a can on it with a brace, and I want this to be a small, compact, high capacity compared to like a normal average bolt action rifle. That would be perfect for like I think a pickup gun. Throw the Guardian on it. It'll be
and
300 yard max, maybe 400 yards. Just
What caliber, first of all? 5.56?
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
223 Wildy will be the barrel, but or chambering.
My next question. How much is that upper again?
1250.
Oh my goodness.
Do you wanna
For the
know what
upper
I would do?
alone?
what I would do is, so you could build this out with something cheaper, but with what you described, I would get a Foxtrot mic upper that does not require a buffer tube. Okay.
No, like
And
the
I-
ranch rifle uppers.
Well, not
Or
the
are you
ranch
talking
rifle.
about- oh, you're talking about their little piston dealio.
Yeah. Well, it's not a piston.
Okay,
It's
I'm
it's
lost.
a direct impingement, but it just uses a proprietary bolt carrier that does not require the buffer tube. It's like a BRN 180, other bufferless AR type things, right?
Got it.
So that you could put a folding stock on it or a folding brace.
I know
They
you're
make a
going with this.
12.5. And what I would do is I would just take the handguard off, take that freaking gas block, turn it sideways or upside down, and then bolt it back on. And then use that forward charging handle to charge the thing like it
Yeah.
was a bolt action.
Let me get the.
Like
Get
Jack's
the-
old wedge tail, except, not a pump. You just have the charging handle on it.
Yeah.
Like so.
Hmm.
I brought up a picture
There
of
it
one
is.
because
There
it
it
has a forward charging handle way up by the muzzle on them.
Oh,
I
that's
would-
like my FM9 Foxtrot mic competition upper, my 9mm AR upper side charger.
I play this game in my head all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like
No,
turning
that's
every AR-15, if you have a gas malfunction, turns into a bolt action rifle. It's kind of beautiful. You can just take the gas block and do something with it. You can you could just take the gas tube out, but you would get gas venting up into nowhere, and you don't want that. You could
into my face.
you could TIG weld the gas port shut if you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you kind of got all the options there. Maybe a little bit jank, but it would work exactly how you're thinking, and it would be way less than $1,300.
Yeah,
you
My
say?
other-
almost. Yeah,
Yeah.
that.
My other question would be, how dead set are you on this being an AR-15 lower? Because you could get the Ruger makes the. Isn't it that? Don't they make the Ruger American like ranch rifle or something that takes AR-15 mags and 5.56?
Yes, but I can't have a short barrel with that unless I want to SBR it. So
Oh,
with the can,
yeah.
I want
I
the big
was-
old.
yeah,
I want the big old handguard, so the can fits nicely inside the handguard, and it's all just one nice little neat package.
Yeah, pistol lower. Got it.
Yeah.
That's where I missed. My bad.
No, you're good.
Brown Ells kind of did this with their BRN 180S, the model, or an SH, I think, which has a three position gas block that is off, suppressed, and unsuppressed. So you can turn the thing all the way off and just run it like a bolt action to get the most quiet possible out of the 300 blackout. If they did that in the 223 Wildy, or Wild, if you want to say it correctly, that
Yeah.
would be cool. But I mean, I don't know. I still kind of want one of the Foxtrot mics just in general. But for what you're thinking about it. I mean, you could buy a PSA pistol kit and just install the gas block incorrectly, and you're there.
Yeah. Oh, it makes sense. I didn't. I don't want the traditional AR charging handle.
Yeah,
Just-
that's
I
the-
can
That's the kicker.
after for
The-
whatever my opinion's worth, side charging, especially on an AR platform, it is more intuitive. If something goes wrong with the rifle, you don't have to disconnect and reach back here to charge it. You can just tap and then charge back, and your hand goes right back to your grip, and you're back on
Mhm.
target.
Oh, yeah. No, it makes sense.
I love that side charger. I wish more were side chargers.
And honestly, I would be fine with like the pump action upper that jack out the backgrounds
Yeah.
for
That'd be
what
pretty
I'm
cool.
going to use it for. It's going to be maybe 3 shots in succession at the most.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, a coyote's like 600 fucking yards anyway. And it's not going to be my primary fucking coyote gun. It's just going to be a pickup gun. But it's going to be very small, very quiet, very nice.
The other thing I would say, if you're looking at side charging, is this would be having to build it from a little bit of the ground up. But I think its new Frontier Armory has non-reciprocating left-hand side charging uppers.
Oh.
I think they're not like cheapo, but I think a stripped one. I'm just gonna Google it.
Hang on, Sam. Are you sharing my screen?
I can share your screen.
Share my screen.
It's our screen, comrade.
All right.
So the Devil Dog Concepts.
Double Dog Concepts, they have a charging handle that converts your normal AR-15 into a side charger on the left side.
Oh, I remember this.
It's this thing. It's got a little channel here on the left side, a normal looking charging handle. Then you put in there and you clamp in the top part on the outside, and bada bing, bada boom, you got a left side charging handle.
How much does that punk cost? That's kind of
I-
like
it-
that thing reminds me of the attempts to turn bolt action rifles into semi-autos in the late stages of World War One and then post World War One.
But in reverse. I recall them being in the $120, $130 range for this.
Because the new Frontier,
There's a-
which is I just looked up, it's $325. It essentially
Okay, yeah.
Go.
127 here. 127 to 135.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Basically, the new Frontier does roughly the same thing, but it's integrated into the. It's actually built in, and you don't even have the standard rear charging handle. But anyway, weird,
Nice.
goofy,
Well, think thee.
and I'm
Bless
guessing
thee and
you're
keep
dead
thee.
set. You're dead set on it being some kind of bolt action, just to make it quiet as possible.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
my goal.
I mean, personally, I'd opt for more DACA, but less DACA. I mean,
It's not going to be my only thing that goes daka. That I'm pretty savvy with a bolt gun, so I would even venture to say that I'm faster than Mike at running a bolt gun.
Ooh. We should have a bolt off.
Don't ever say that again.
all right.
Bolt off.
Let's see here. I mean, I had stuff that I was going to briefly touch on elk hunting, but I mean, the general gist of it was I'm changing up my plans to where I'm going to do 3 days, a 3-day stint here coming up for opening season. Going to call it some aggressive scouting. So it's going to be like scouting while trying to kill things.
Heavily armed
Mhm.
scouting.
Yeah. Might have a buddy. I got to text him just to double check plans. Might take him up there with me. He does not intend on getting a tag because he claims to be terrible with a bow. And I'm like, well, dude, I'm not that much better. But hey, whatever works. But I'm planning on like that little stint in the beginning because I want to get out there for the opener. Just because if I didn't, I'd probably be wishing I had. And then planning more towards the end of September, a full 5-day plus 6-day stint. Hopefully when those cows are all estrusy.
Hey, Ty's in the chat. And Mike,
says Mike
and speaking of bolt action ARs, Ty, who we went coyote hunting with, had a bolt action AR with a Uinta upper that Mike was running. And Ty mentions off to the side, he's like, I didn't think you guys are going to blow through a bunch of my ammo, but watching Mike run my gun, I was wrong.
Yeah, I remember that Ty's gun was really, really nice, man. I had one coyote running, and I took a shot, and I missed, and I'm just like, took another shot, missed, took another shot, and I saw him like tumble behind a hill, and I was like, yes, got him. And then I turn around, Ty's like staring at me.
Like, my baby.
Like, you put me behind it, I'm going to run her.
That's
Like,
why
don't
you
let me
brought
test drive.
1,000 rounds with you to shoot prairie dogs.
I was shooting them at 600 yards with 5.56. Like, that's a minute of man cartridge at 600 yards.
Accuracy by volume.
Mhm.
Exactly what I was doing. I got 4 or 5.
He was
with
going to kill them
150 rounds.
with pneumonia from dust in their face.
They all got black lung.
Over the target. Fire for effect.
Can't wait to do that again.
Boy, but no, that's elk plans for me. That'll be going up here. We'll probably head up on opens on September 2nd, so we'll probably go up on the 1st, claim that spot, do some scouting that first day, and then what?
Ty said your brass was ejecting farther than some of the prairie dogs you shot at because of the can on the 5.56.
Yeah, that it was.
I was catching them and throwing them back at you.
It took him a
remember
while
that.
to notice too.
That was annoying. I was like, what is that? Stop it. Shooting prairie dogs here. Or, attempting to.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I really can't wait to do that again. That was fun. Definitely don't want to do it in August, though. That was...
I'm thinking October.
yeah.
It's not that hot.
You're right. It's not that hot. It could be worse, but
It's above 72 degrees. It's hot. Okay? End of story.
I mean,
I'm a weenie when it comes to hot temperatures. I can survive them. I don't want to. I have done a 13-mile freaking ruck in Spain in 113 degree weather. If I remember correctly, I think it was 113.
How did you let
I
her
did not
talk you
like it.
into that?
I didn't talk her into it. Anyway.
I could only
It's a
imagine
long
it was
story.
one of... Okay.
Anyway. But no, I hate hot weather. It sucks.
I'm sweating just right now, existing.
Just thinking
Yeah.
about it.
It's like
This
hot's
is
not great.
stupid.
I'm ready
I
for
heard-
I'm ready for like 20 degrees in my waders, sitting by the river.
Yeah, then you'll be bitching it's cold.
Nope.
It's still cold out there.
Because those waders are awesome and they keep me really warm.
I fell in the water. My feet got cold.
I never once bitched about being cold after I went swimming. I was just like, well, this is what
Like I
get.
said, it's been about 90 the last couple of days, and it's been really nice.
Ugh.
Gross.
That's so lovely for you. I can't wait till it cools down to...
I was so
something
ready
else.
for the snow. I looked at the future cast, and they're saying like November 16th we should have our first
Aw.
chance of snow. I'm like,
That's
oh,
not far enough.
got my little day counter coming down.
I'm sorry, I said that backwards. That's too far.
Gross.
I'm ready for snow.
All right. So, to round us all off, we have a review from, he's in the chat, Mr. Gavin Fang. He updated his review because he heard that I was giving out a sticker. And he's like, oh, I want a sticker. I want a sticker.
Copy paste is good.
That's what I suspect, because the problem is I don't remember what he wrote in last time. But he says, what's going on, LGH? Long time no talk. That's a lie, dude. You're in the chat every week.
Yeah.
That's my bad. I got behind on things and life got the better of me. Yeah, it's because you're sniffing all that glass cleaner again. Anyway, it looks like y'all have been busy and I'm glad to see it. Can't wait to get squared up on what you've done. It's the summer. We haven't done anything. I found some interesting encounters since our last correspondence. Maybe I can compose one or two of them into a legible transcription to share with you. Man, he was high. Anywho, he did copy and paste. Anyway, on to episode 67. It's getting spicy. Take care.
What was episode 67?
Yeah, it's okay if you copy my homework. Just change it a little bit so the teacher doesn't notice.
I'm scrolling back to 67 now.
I think that's Jack.
Was that
No,
Jack?
that's the
Jack was 62.
It was six. That was 60. Nope, that's 67.
Huh.
I always think it's 65 for some reason.
Has it been 20 weeks since my laptop pooped out?
It's been 20 weeks since Dave existed in that hotel lobby too.
You mean God, Dave? I just sounded powerful. The Wizard of
Really a
Dave.
teddy bear. Pay no attention to that man in the hotel room.
No, I was in their hotel office.
Pay no attention to the man in the hotel office.
He also wrote, hang on. All right, so his explanation for why we didn't record yesterday was that I fell into a river. Mike came to help, but he took a nap halfway.
That checks out.
Dave tried to help, but there's no snow to power his plow. So Vince called tech support, but they didn't speak English. He had to walk in the snow and the rain and the dark at night with the sun in his eyes, uphill both ways to save the day. To which I reported that the only thing missing is that I can't swim too good. And he says, I didn't read this part, so this is the first one for me. He says, then Mike woke up. He commandeered a helicopter that was putting out fires at an orphanage. He hopped in, told the kids to get in the chopper, even though he just left. But then he said, I'll be back, La Viata, baby. I think he meant said, I'll be back, hasta la vista, baby. Then he used the helicopter to pick up Dave's plow, which
I'll
was
be back La Vista, baby.
I thought
Oh,
he said,
maybe
I'll
that
be
was it.
balaclava, baby.
Okay, then he uses the helicopter to I lost my spot. Pick up Dave's plow, which was still being worked on by Vince, who was using Google Translate to follow repair instructions. Hoisted the plow away into the air to the river, even though Sam was dead for 3 hours already. So they got there, and the plow was plowable. And the plow was plowable. Dave used it to combine all the beaver dams into one giant dam that stopped the flow of the water. So Mike, in the helicopter, scooped it all up, dropped it on shore until Sam's loaded body was visible. I don't like my part in the story anymore.
Oh, it gets
I
worse.
My favorite part of the story is where Sam drowns.
I love Vince waiting to hear the rest of the story because he knows it.
Look at him, he's drooling.
Turns out he was still alive and just barely clutching on to a patch of fur from the beaver that got away that used to trap air into a pocket to survive. He's not bloated, just fat. Whoa!
There it is.
Damn.
All right, no sticker for you, sir.
This all sounded like Dwight's perfect crime from The Office. Like, I tell her to meet me in Paris. I don't go to Paris. I go to Berlin. That's where I stash the chandelier. Like,
You want a sticker? You better beg from Vince for it, sir. Because I got one. and
it's
you-
okay. I'll send you a sticker. That was worth
I
it.
have
That was
stickers
worth it.
also. Like
I
he
need
gets
to order
stickers
more.
from all of us. He's like,
I need to order
that
more.
story.
And that definitely
Do you
wasn't
know-
AI because it was way too incoherent.
And there were
That's
too many
true.
spelling errors. And just
Like,
Do you know?
the
It
plow
was just
plow.
like his chat, actually.
Do you know how
Rambling and
bad
incoherent.
I
Sorry,
want to
Dave.
be a plow torpedo now?
a
He doesn't-
torpedo.
He doesn't actually plow the
plowpedo?
snow off the road. He just goes underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
Which word combination is better, torpedo or plowpedo?
Plowpedo.
That's a dual meaning.
Pronunciation,
that actually
guys.
doesn't even look good spelled out. All right.
I lost it. Sorry.
We need to end this before it gets bad. Who's
Well.
in charge of the outro? Dave. Oh, do the Kermit voice.
me.
Do the Kermit
The
voice,
what?
Dave.
Do
the
it.
Kermit- Do the
Support
Kermit
the
voice.
sport and take a Benny Henning. While you're hanging out with that brothers, tell them about us.
No, I'm not gonna do that shit. get some trauma training. Search for Let's Go Hunt on YouTube, Instagram at Let's Go Hunt Podcast, and at Reddit at r/Let's Go Hunt Podcast. Links available at lghpodcast.com. Check the show notes for info on Initiative 91, the ban on cat hunting here in Colorado. Thanks for listening, and let's go hunt.
So is it Bespoke Bucket?
Oh God.
Shark Coochie?
I think either VDSM, the hunting centipede, or Plowpedo.
Definitely not plow.